Hi quilters, I'm Shelley Robson from the Quilted Forest, and I wanted to share with you some pictures from my recent visit to the Virginia Quilt Museum. The museum is located in downtown Harrisonburg, Virginia, and it was started in 1995. This historic building has 3 floors of gallery space for rotating exhibits. The first floor featured quilts from a local quilter. One in particular that caught my eye was a quilt with little baskets on it, and each basket had flowers in it that were from all 50 states of the Union. Underneath the quilt was a key to help you identify which basket represented which state. We, of course, looked for the Iowa block and found it. All of the quilts done by this artist were colorful and beautiful and very well done. Another of her quilts that stood out to me was this blue quilt called the 365 Challenge. She made 1 block every day for a year. It's not surprising that it won the Best of Show at the 2019 Shenandoah Valley Quilt Show. The historic building, now home to the Virginia Quilt Museum, was once a temporary courthouse, which explains this jail cell. It's also been used as a private home, a Civil War hospital, a Parks and Rec building, and a historical society. This is a piece of the original flooring in the building, and I thought the flooring as it is in the building right now looked very quilty and very appropriate for the Quilt Museum. Even the tops of the radiators had a kind of quilt look to them. I love these kind of details in old buildings. And then we found the exhibit titled Seeing the Tree in the Forest, and we felt right at home because we're from the Quilted Forest. These stunning 3D works of art were fun to walk around and to discover all the fun details on each of them. They were so beautiful. At the bottom of this tree was a forest floor made with yo-yos and buttons and beads. It was exquisite. I would love to try to make one of these trees someday. I think this would be really fun to do. This was the view looking up inside one of them. I like how they had the 3D even on the inside. This one looked like it was made from old ties. That was really fun to see. The lower level featured an exhibit called Mod Pop. The challenge was to create a quilt that was 30 inches by 40 inches using only 2 colors, gray and a pop of color, which would be the quilter's choice. The other part of the challenge was that the pops of color could only be in the shapes of triangles. And some of them were pretty sneaky. I have to admit, they were fun to try to figure out what the idea behind their triangles were. If you'd like more information on the Virginia Quilt Museum, we'll leave a link in the description below. This quilt had so many beautiful details. It was donated to the museum in 2020 and made by the members of the Winchester Modern Quilt Guild and depicts downtown Winchester based on a photo by Rick Foster. The upper level featured an exhibit called Handsomely Hand Done, hand-quilted treasures from the Virginia Quilt Museum. These were all very old quilts and they were gorgeous. The quilting designs were so intricate and the hand quilting stitches were so tiny. The museum even had a table of magnifying glasses and rulers to help you get an up-close view of the tiny stitches. This quilt was called Solomon's Puzzle. It was made in celebration of the bicentennial and won Best of Show at the 1977 National Quilt Show. Notice the fringe along the edge. This quilt was made from embroidered squares and lots of tiny stitches. Also on the upper level of the museum, they had a whole room of antique sewing machines. Imagine the stories these machines could tell. There were so many brands that I'd never even heard of, and I loved all the decorative scrolling on them and just how beautiful they were. They also had a collection of treadle machines. A lot of them had the cabinet intact and even the wood cover that would go over the top. The decorative foot pedals on the treadle machines were amazing. I had to look at all of them. The quilts in this room were called quilts in reverse. You could see the back side of the quilt to study the quilting, and some of these were even two-sided, like this one was log cabin on the front and crazy quilt on the back. This one was a paper foundation quilt, and it used any kind of paper they could find, and this one even had an envelope that was dated 1880 with a 2-cent stamp. Virginia Quilt Museum was the perfect spot for me to stop on my vacation. If you're ever in Harrisonburg, Virginia, I highly recommend a visit. We hope you'll hit that like button, share with a quilting friend, leave a comment, and most importantly, subscribe. Thanks for watching and happy quilting!